we'll see how it works. But I'm in Matthew chapter 6. Jesus says, seek first his kingdom. Now there's one right there. Whose kingdom? Father's kingdom. It's Father's kingdom. And the Father, is pleased that it's that way. It's his kingdom. Seek first his kingdom. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. We will have a king. The man who said these words, Jesus of Nazareth, was born to be a king. So far, he has got to sit with the king in heaven. When he returns, his Father is going to have him sit on a throne, and he will be king over a kingdom that will have no end. And I'm looking forward to it. It's just right there. It's coming. I don't know the day or the hour, but I know it's coming. I know it's coming just as well as Simeon knew that he was going to see the Lord's Christ before he died. If y'all can call what's going to happen to some people when Jesus returns dying, Jesus said eternal life. I like the idea of eternal life. I really do. Jesus said, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore do not be anxious for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Now, Jesus talks about what's going to happen in the kingdom that's coming. In chapter 8. Well, I better make sure over here in chapter 7 that I don't miss these words by Jesus, because Jesus is talking about the kingdom in chapter 7. I'm still in Matthew. Folks, you can take your time with this. You can take hours with this. Just get you a Bible that's got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And just take Matthew and Luke for about 2 months and pray and believe and act upon what Jesus said to do. That's got to be the best advice that I could possibly give you today. But Jesus is saying about the narrow way. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and many are those who enter by it. And somebody told you that things have changed. Has it? They haven't. They haven't changed. Jesus said the gate is small, the way is narrow that leads to life, and few are those who find it. You can't find it if you don't seek it. And you certainly can't get it unless you ask the one who knows what you need before you ask him to give it to you. And I for one, don't waste my time doing what a lot of people do. Jesus said, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. That might mean they want your money. I haven't asked anyone for money, and I figure if I need some money, since God knows if I did or didn't, that he could put it, in someone's heart to give me some money. Or if he thought I needed it bad enough, I'm sure he could put some in a crow's mouth and he could fly over and drop it on me. Yeah, that's what I think. I could be wrong, but I could be right. Jesus said, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. He says, grapes are not gathered from thorn bushes, and figs don't come from thistles. Every good tree bears good fruit, but the bad tree bears bad fruit. Jesus said a good tree cannot produce bad fruit, nor can a bad tree produce good fruit. And Jesus said every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. I bet you won't hear that at either one of the churches in my town. And my town is Downsville, Louisiana. But Jesus is speaking here. He said, you will know them by their fruits. You will recognize them if you're not blind. Blind people really don't recognize a lot, do they? But Jesus goes on and says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Now that's not going to go well with some of these that like to stand out on the street and tell you they've got a free gift for you. And if you'll just take this little free gift and read what's on this little card here, and some of them will even invite you over to their church to baptize you in water, real soon. Jesus said something about does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Just thought I'd throw that in today since it's the last Sunday in August, and I'm at my Father's house, and I'm looking at thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Jesus says, the will of my Father who is in heaven. The only way you're going to get it is the way Jesus says that you can get it. You're just going to have to ask your Father. And it may be a while before some do it. But Jesus said, many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name cast out demons, and in your name perform works of power? So, folks, I'm kind of skeptical of some of these people that are wanting, and they are really touting works of power. Jesus talked about it right there in Matthew chapter 7. Jesus said, I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. I don't think there's a Methodist church and a Baptist church in town here, and I kind of doubt that in either one of them they're going to talk about this today. Jesus said, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts upon them, he may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and burst against that house. And yet it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. Jesus goes on to say, everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act upon them will be like a foolish man. So if you watch this or see this and hear this, and you don't do anything, as instructed, Jesus says you will be like a foolish man, had built his house upon the sand, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and it burst against the house, and it fell down, and there wasn't nothing left of it worth having. This is thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. When Jesus returns, he will do his Father's will. And Bob McGee will be pleased if I'm not real disappointed. And I really don't think I look like I may be disappointed, do I? No. I am looking forward to seeing Jesus appear, because when he does, the devil will not be free to do what he does in all of his little houses. Well, Bob, you shouldn't say that. Jesus said if the unclean spirit goes out of a man, it'll return to a clean house and bring other spirits with him, worse than before. That's what Jesus said. But the gospel of the kingdom, the gospel of the kingdom, the gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed. And if you want to be blessed, I will suggest that you do what Jesus said to do. And don't pay a whole lot of attention to some others that may be giving you instructions.